was a question that was asked by Jeremy about the French government and the question about quarantine. I answered the question as the quarantine, it relates to the quarantining of contacts of confirmed cases. There are other ways in which the word quarantine is used, so I just want to make sure that my answer is specific to that. What WHO recommends is a quarantine period, so these are contacts of confirmed cases of 14 days. And I was referring to the incubation period of when somebody goes from exposure to when they develop symptoms. On average, is between 5 and 6 days, but it can go up to 14 days, which is why we make that 14-day period. We are always looking at the evidence of the incubation period coming from all different countries, and looking at if that can be modified, and if so, can be modified with the addition of testing or whatnot. So we are looking at that, but right now, and it continues to remain a quarantine day period of 14 days. I did see a recent review that has looked at the incubation period, saying that the mean incubation period, depending on the country, ranges from somewhere between 2 days and 10 days. The mean incubation period of 2 days to 10 days. So the 14-day upper bound is really a robust number to really prevent the potential for onward transmission. So I just wanted to clarify that because we were having a little debate among here about the actual question itself. So I want to be very clear.
And could I also just fiddle on this, say, we also advise that people who travel and who travel internationally are travelers. They're not contacts. They may be coming from a country that has a higher incidence. So people who are known contacts of confirmed cases should not travel. So people who are traveling, by definition, are not contacts. So they're not the same category as Maria spoke about. Now, governments and people have to manage a very complex issue here. Managing 2 weeks self-isolation or restricted movement when people arrive in a country is, for a business person, for someone going home to see family, that's quite an imposition. But those individuals are coming from an area of perceived risk in another country. They're not contacts of COVID. And therefore governments are within their rights, if they want to reduce the time of observation that those individuals are in specific self-quarantine or self-restricted movement. That doesn't mean that the person loses responsibility to report symptoms if they get them. So I think that's a flexible number, and it's about the level of imposition it's difficult for people to implement, and it's difficult for governments to monitor. So in a situation like this, I don't know for sure, I haven't seen the issue or the data from the French side of the proposal, but especially if you're focusing in on containing your own major community transmission, and you're focusing on ensuring that your contacts of cases are self-isolating, and you want to track them most aggressively for the 14 days, if people are coming in to your country, in order to reduce the pressure on your follow-up systems, yes, countries could be, it would be a defensible thing to say we'll reduce the period of observation on travellers coming into our country. And again, each government has to set that period. Some governments are moving towards testing regimes, some governments are doing different things. So I do think that's, I won't say a flexible issue, but it's an issue in which governments have choices that they can make. But I would be, I think Maria is correct, contacts of confirmed cases need to be in quarantine for 14 days, and that's not something that we think would be advisable to reduce or adjust in any way.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Mike, for this clarification, and to our friends journalists, if you